I've been thinking a lot about how new generations are, really finding their true north these days.
Yeah,
It's like they're standing up against all these external expectations.
absolutely. But do you think that's causing them to feel more isolated?
Well, in a way, yes. They're facing this lonely path when they go
Right.
against the grain. It can definitely shake their confidence.
So how does the church play into that?
Oh, the church can sometimes create confusion about identity, like emphasizing duties over personal values and talents.
That's interesting. Are you suggesting that this leads to an external sense of self?
Exactly. People start looking for validation from others,
Yeah.
constantly measuring up to external standards.
And social media probably makes that worse, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Social media amplifies that false sense of reality.
Right.
It's like a non-stop comparison game.
So what's the impact on their self-worth?
Well, they end up feeling inadequate, always seeking approval. It's a heavy burden that hinders genuine self-expression.
But isn't it impossible to meet everyone's expectations anyway?
Exactly. It's like chasing a mirage.
Yeah.
You can't achieve everyone's ideal standards of perfection.
So how did Jesus view this?
Jesus accepted us just as we are. He didn't ask people to judge themselves.
Right.
He simply asked us to follow him.
That's a comforting thought. But what about that verse in Matthew 16:26?
Good point. That verse talks about denying oneself and taking up one's cross. But context matters here.
How so?
Jesus was speaking to his disciples who were about to face severe persecution.
Right.
It was a call to them, not necessarily a universal mandate.
So, are we misapplying it when we take it personally?
In a way, yes. We need to understand whether we're missionaries like them, or if we're serving in other ways.
Yeah,
It's about knowing our role.
that makes sense. So, focusing on external judgment isn't helpful?
Exactly. An external locus of identity leads to constant self-assessment and inadequacy. It's exhausting.
Then how do we shift to an internal locus of identity?
By recognizing that our worth comes from within,
Right.
embracing that we're accepted as we are.
And that ties back to Jesus accepting us unconditionally?
Yes, he focused on the condition of our souls, not on meeting external standards.
Yeah.
It's about internal peace.
But shouldn't we still strive to improve ourselves?
Definitely. Self-improvement is important, but it's different from self-judgment.
Right.
One is constructive, the other is destructive.
I see what you mean. So, self-examination without harsh judgment?
Exactly. Like the Apostle Paul said, we should examine ourselves, but not condemn ourselves. Forgiveness is key.
That brings us to the concept of love displacing negativity, doesn't it?
Yes, focusing on love transforms us.
Yeah.
It helps us move beyond our shortcomings.
And that's particularly important for new generations valuing authenticity.
Absolutely. They crave genuine connections and realness.
Right.
Without authenticity, they check out.
So how can they find true fulfillment?
By embracing their unique talents and gifts.
Yeah.
Like in the parable of the talents, we're meant to cultivate what we've been given.
But what about when external pressures try to mold them differently?
That's where inner strength comes in.
Right.
Prioritizing spiritual well-being over societal expectations.
It's not easy, though. They might face opposition.
True, but just like Jesus faced opposition, standing firm leads to deeper fulfillment. It's a journey worth taking.
And social media? How do they navigate that minefield?
By understanding it's a highlight reel, not reality,
Yeah,
focusing on authentic relationships instead.
that could really alleviate a lot of unnecessary stress.
Exactly. Removing the mask allows for genuine connections.
Right.
It's liberating.
So, in conclusion, it's about finding self-worth from within?
Yes, embracing who we are as we are.
Yeah,
And remembering we're accepted unconditionally.
that's a message we all need to hear more often.
Agreed. It's freeing to know we don't have to meet endless external expectations. We can just be ourselves.
Well, thanks for shedding light on this. It's been enlightening.
My pleasure. It's a topic close to my heart.
Right.
Hopefully, it helps others find their true north.